Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Danish Kazdar. I'm a fellow member of ACCA and I have more than 13 years of experience as working as a CFO and board secretary, company secretary at various public and private companies in both commercial and not-for-profit organizations. So today we are going to discuss briefly about the role of a company secretary. What is a company secretary and what are his roles and responsibilities? So a company secretary is basically a liaison between the board and the management. His main job, his core duty is to ensure the directives of the board are implemented and to ensure compliance with the applicable rules and regulations in terms of corporate governance matters. So the first responsibility of company secretary is to ensure that he is servicing the board and its committees. The board has various committees, for example, risk management committee, board audit committee, finance committee, HR committee. So the company secretary's role is to ensure that the minutes of the meetings are taken appropriately and the agendas are sent within the stipulated time, and that the relevant aspects of Companies Act are met in this regard. And he's secretary of the committees as well, so he has to ensure that the meeting is done with the desired protocol. The second point is the compliance with laws and regulations. If it is a listed company, then there are various rules and regulations applicable to such company in Pakistan. For example, the SECP, the Companies Act, the relevant regulations of Companies Act, and the Pakistan Stock Exchange (PSX) rulebook. The provisions of the rulebook apply to the listed companies, and there are various matters. So it is better for a company secretary to make a checklist of all these matters, that the company has to hold 4 board meetings once in each quarter in a year, and and then there is an annual general meeting, then there are statutory returns. So there are many things which are required by the law. Third aspect is maintaining the corporate records and documents. So one of the main duties of company secretary is to maintain various registers and documents as required by the Companies Act. These would be the minutes book, the directors records, the conflict of interest register, and there could be other documents as well. Fourth is the shareholder relations and communication. So of course, if it is a listed company or even if it is a private limited, there would be shareholders and the relations of shareholders need to be managed. There are various share transfer matters and then if it is a big company, listed company, then they would have hired a registrar, a share registrar, for example CDC or FAMCO, and there are various other organizations which provide services of share registrar. So the company secretary has to deal with the share registrar and to ensure that the compliance is made with the relevant laws. Fifth point is the legal and regulatory matters. So there would be various legal matters, especially related to corporate law, which the company secretary would be engaged in. And his engagement in legal matters would always be there, either as a lead person or someone who has an active support in these matters. Liaison with external agencies. So there would be various agencies in the country which would be requiring data of company, and hence the company secretary would be the main person, point of contact for such agencies from the company. Corporate governance and ethics. So the company secretary has to ensure that the best practices of corporate governance are ensured. For example, the listed companies code of corporate governance regulations 2019 provides various provisions in order to ensure that the best practices are followed and that the company has to maintain certain policies. And then is a criteria for that the company has to maintain to update its website and to display the policies clearly on their website. And then there is a risk management internal control. So risk management is a key aspect of in today's world, and the company secretary has to ensure that the various risks, especially those relating to corporate governance, are managed and are dealt in an effective manner. And as I mentioned earlier, that he may be required to prepare a checklist and ensure that the provisions are captured and the risks are managed. For example, there are certain provisions in the Code of Corporate Governance which are mandatory, and the default on any of such provisions may lead to penalties, and some penalties could be significant and could be in millions of rupees. So these are some of the risks which he has to ensure that they are managed through various checklists. And lastly, there is secretarial administration and support. His support would be required at various platforms in the company, in which he would be required to give his input. So this is in short what I've tried to elaborate the role of a company secretary. For further details, I would strongly encourage and recommend you to read the listed companies code of